Welcome back. In this video, we will understand what is a RAG system and what are the key components which help us in building a RAG system. So what are the key focus areas in this video? We will understand what is a RAG system. We will also understand what are the key components in a RAG workflow and how do we build a RAG system in terms of its architecture. So what is a RAG system? A RAG system basically stands for a Retrieval-Augmented Generation system. It has become the de facto architecture for search and question answering systems. It has been used and is being used for building question answering chatbots based on custom enterprise data, custom documents. It has often been used as an alternative or the first step before fine-tuning large language models. So that is the advantage of a RAG system. You don't need to train a large language model. You can just connect your data with the LLM, augment its knowledge with your data, and then get more contextual answers to your questions. Now, a RAG system follows a two-step process. The first step is document processing and encoding, where you will process your documents and then encode and store it in a vector database. And the second step is question answering search and generation, where first you search in the database to retrieve data related to your question, and then you generate a human-like answer to your question using that data. So overall, RAG systems help regular large language models to augment their information with custom knowledge before generating answers. Let's now understand, how does a RAG system work? So typically, the flow is like this. You have an external knowledge base of documents. You will connect this knowledge base to a large language model, so that when a user comes in and asks a question, first you will retrieve relevant data which could be helpful to answer your question from the knowledge base, pass that to the LLM as context, and then get a more contextual response to your query using that context from the knowledge base. Now, this knowledge base can come from a variety of sources. It could be from Excel files, Slack, raw databases, could be SQL databases, could be files like PDFs, Word documents, and so on. The idea is to process all of this information into a consistent format and then connect it to a large language model. So how do we do that? We do it following a two-step process. The first step is data processing and indexing. So this is where we have custom documents. We process and chunk these documents. So let's say you have a document of 100 pages. You can't just dump that 100-page document directly. You may need to break it into smaller manageable chunks. One way could be every page becomes a chunk. Another way could be every 2 to 3 paragraphs become a chunk. So you're free to experiment with various chunking strategies. We have covered some of this also in this course. Now, once you have these more manageable pieces of information called as chunks, you will pass these chunks through a LLM embedder model, also known as a transformer embedding model, and you will convert these into embeddings. Typically, encoder-based transformers are used here, where your text data goes into that pre-trained encoder transformer model and you get embedding for every document chunk. And then you store that piece of text information, the chunk and the corresponding embedding, into a vector database along with any other metadata as necessary. Now, once this process is completed, that means your data has been processed, chunked, embeddings have been created, and they have been indexed in a vector database. Now you can go into the second step, which is retrieval and response generation. So this is where a user query comes in. Based on the user query, the system will retrieve relevant document chunks based on embedding similarity from the vector database. It will pass these chunks to the large language model along with the user question, obviously, to augment its knowledge, saying that, hey, given this question and this relevant context information, use this context information to answer the question. And in that way, using this augmented knowledge, the LLM generates a human-like response to the user query based on this knowledge. So now let's discuss about this workflow, this two-step workflow. So step one, data processing and indexing. Typically, you may have a variety of data sources like Word documents, PDFs, JSON, XML, and so on. You extract typically the text content from it. Sometimes you might extract images, audio, and so on. That is known as multimodal RAG systems. We will cover that towards the end of this. So once you extract the text content, you will break it down into more manageable chunks or pieces of information. For example, a few paragraphs or every page of the document becomes a chunk. Then you will pass each of those chunks through an embedding model, like an encoder-based transformer, and you will get fixed-sized vectors, also known as embeddings, for each chunk. And then you store the chunk and the corresponding embedding vector into a vector database. And then you get into the second step, which is retrieval and response generation, where your question goes into the vector database. Based on similarity of your questions embedding to the chunk embeddings, the top k similar documents are retrieved. And then it goes into a prompt, which could basically be like, given the following context chunks, answer the user question. And then that goes to the large language model. The LLM uses that augmented information, the context, to answer the question. Let's now look at this architecture in a bit more detail. So this slide, there's a lot going on. Let's go through it step by step to understand it. So again, let's follow that two-step process. We start off here with step 1, which is data processing and indexing, where we may have a bunch of documents, which could be PDFs, Word documents, and so on. We pass it through a document loader whose sole purpose is to extract the text content from these documents. So we have the text content from these documents, and then we pass it through a text splitter, also often known as a chunker, which will chunk the large documents into more manageable pieces of information, for example, into multiple pages or paragraphs and so on. So out of the large documents, for example, if this is a document, you may end up getting a bunch of chunks, which could be, let's say, a one-pager document becomes 3 chunks, right? Where every chunk is like, let's say, 2 to 3 paragraphs of information. And then what you do is you pass these chunks into an LLM embedder model, right? The sole purpose of the embedding transformer model is to convert every chunk into an embedding vector. Now remember, an embedding vector is nothing but a fixed sized vector of numbers. For example, if you're using an OpenAI embedding model, every document chunk would be converted into a vector of size 1536 numbers. So depending on the nature of the embedding model, the size of the vector might vary. So once you have the document embedding vector for every chunk, what happens is both of these will get stored in a vector database. And that's why you see 2 arrows coming out, one from the document chunk and the corresponding chunk embeddings. Both of them get stored in the vector DB, so that the vector database knows that for this embedding, this is the corresponding document chunk. For this embedding, this is the corresponding chunk. So with step 7, we end the step 1 basically, which is the data processing and indexing. Now, once that is done, what we can do is we can then focus on the step 2. So in step 2, what happens is retrieval and response generation, which typically starts with a user. So in this case, the user is sitting here. The user asks a question. Obviously, the question is also some text. So that question again also goes into the embedding model. And you get an embedding for the question itself, an embedding vector for the question. Then that question's embedding goes into the vector database through a DB retriever. The database retriever is basically a retrieval strategy. Like, okay, should I use cosine similarity? Should I use maximal marginal relevance? Should I use hybrid search, which is a combination of keyword and semantic, which is cosine similarity search? And what is the top K context documents I should retrieve? Should I retrieve the top 5 similar documents? Should I retrieve the top 2 similar documents? So in that way, what happens is the retrieval strategy takes the question's embedding vector and it matches it with the chunk embeddings, and it finds out the top K similar chunks. And then the vector database retrieves those top K similar chunks. So let's say we decided that we want to retrieve the top 3 similar chunks to the user question. So based on the question's embedding vector, the top 3 most similar document chunks in terms of cosine embedding similarity might be retrieved. And then you pass the question, the original question, and the context documents into a prompt template, which basically consists of an instruction saying that, hey, given this following context documents, use this to answer the given question. And that goes as a prompt instruction to your large language model, which then generates a contextual response to your question based on that retrieved context. So overall, this is a standard workflow of a RAG system, and you will see us implement this in the later modules also. That's it for this video. I'll catch up with you in the next one. Thank you.